Scoundrels web series and podcast is filmed and recorded in their ship, the Centurion Vulture, and may contain language not suitable for all. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Scoundrels, y'all. We are broadcasting from the Centurion Vulture. My name is CG.
I'm Paul Bannister.
Curtis Wayne Millard standing by.
We are three grown-ass men, and we're going to talk about Star Wars, and today we're talking about something pretty specific. It's a big deal. We're going to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
The wizard. That crazy wizard
Yeah.
that lives in the desert.
So, you know what we should also say? I know none of y'all will probably see this on this day, but for us, May the 4th be with you. It is May 4th today.
I feel it. I feel the 4th.
We got a little extra tingle in our jingle today because of it.
I know we're three grown-ass men, but I feel like a giddy little boy today.
Yeah.
My heart's racing.
We're broadcasting from the outer rim.
Yeah.
That's right.
So by the time it gets to y'all, who the fuck knows?
Who the fuck knows? They'll be in some cantina somewhere.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about Obi-Wan, this series today, and what we think, what we... all the things that go along with it. It's worth noting that they dropped today the new trailer, which we all just watched and made a point to not say one word to each other about until right now.
Yeah.
I have one question I want to ask you guys.
Yeah.
This is how I want to say. When I say Obi-Wan Kenobi, who pops into your head?
Oh, Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
mostly.
But especially with this new series coming out.
Yeah.
He sneaks in there. But I think for a lot of you think about this character, probably the biggest character, one of the biggest. Him and Darth Vader are pretty...
Certainly top three most important.
I mean, he's in episode 1 through 9.
Yeah.
9,
I guess you're right. Who else can...
6.
Oh, yeah, 1 through 6, yeah.
I think Ewan just has so much more screen time.
Yeah.
And honestly, he's one of the good things about... they fucking nailed that casting.
Well, and I don't want to go back into a whole prequel shitfest because we all know what I think, but it's a testament to how shitty those movies are that with that, think of the cast on Phantom Menace: Ewan McGregor, Liam Neeson, Samuel L. Jackson, Natalie Portman, Hayden Christensen's a whole other
Frank
thing.
Oz is there.
That is some A-level Oscar-winning / nominated crew right there. So Ewan McGregor, look, I fucking love me some Ewan McGregor.
I wouldn't want. I can't think of anyone else I'd rather.
He's a badass. It's a genius casting. So.
That boy's good.
It's going to be really fun to watch him do this role in a way that is actually done well, hopefully,
I think it's like a second chance at life here. It's like, I think it's a pretty, everyone I talked to, because I've been talking since we started this, I've been talking about Star Wars a lot more to people. Just been talking to people.
What's that like? Talking to people from the outside.
And I feel like everyone I talk to, just like, the prequel, I hate the prequels. I hate, like, we don't, like, it's the same way. We don't think those exist.
Actually, I've never met someone that like really loves them.
Yeah,
the only time I've ever seen is on the internet.
That's what they say. They exist.
Yes, I mean we know
there's a dude that talks about it on YouTube, and he loves them.
Let's get that motherfucker on here because I got questions for him.
Something tells me he don't want to roll up. He don't want to hang with us.
All right, that's fine.
He's too big for us.
Yeah, it's safer anyway.
Well, this timeline is interesting. Like I said before, it's like I think we're 7 years before A New Hope.
Oh, yeah.
So it's what you said. Luke is 10 years old in the trailer. So we got this interesting timeline. So I started watching. I was like, what else is around this timeline to kind of prepare myself? Because I feel like after seeing the post that Hayden Christensen was like watching all the Clone Wars. How old was Han Solo
during this? Sorry to keep fucking cutting in.
No, did you guys see? No. I forwarded you all like email that. So Disney today emailed a thing that like breaks down a timeline of all the fucking shows and movies and how they go. And what did it say? I think maybe
Solo comes.
I don't know. This is what I mean. It starts to get a little confusing now,
I think
right?
it was actually important for them to do that. Like, because it's starting to get pretty intense. And I was like, I don't want to be lost. Like, so I started watching Rebels, the animated series, which I'm not a big cartoon guy, but I was like, I feel like because that happens 5 years before New Hope.
Rebels is
it's right in that same timeline. where Obi-Wan I think is gonna be. So I think it's important to kind of.
Fuck. Do I need to finally just watch?
I
One of
think
these
you.
things?
I
Just
don't
from
know.
an educational standpoint.
Rebels is not
It's
horrible.
not bad. It's,
I didn't finish it.
Well, there's so many. I mean, like I
But-
was.
Okay, so
yeah.
that's my question. Are there like 9 seasons of Rebels?
It's 5 seasons.
There's 5 of them.
I think 4 or 5 seasons. The first season has 14 episodes, and there's 3 seasons that has 22 episodes.
Jesus Christ.
So that's where I was like, I was into the
All
first
right.
couple episodes. Like Filoni obviously loves Star Wars. He like I said, I think it's like episode 3. They show a protocol droid, which was the first rendering of
Yeah.
what C-3PO is gonna look like.
Yep. Got it.
So like so you could, and it's hard for me to watch cartoons. I'm with you. It's
Tough.
and
Yeah.
there's so many episodes. So it's like I'm trying to figure out what's going on during this time because I mean, obviously this is that's considered canon.
Yeah.
It's going to be involved.
is.
It's hard to accept cartoons
I
to be
know.
involved in the Star Wars world for me.
For us.
For us.
Yes.
But I had to relent. I was like, okay. And I did I think there's some things that I think are going to happen, or there's someone in episode 3 who's like a young kid being trained as a stormtrooper. And I think his sister, he says the Inquisitor, which are those Jedi hunters
All right. That's
we
what,
see in the
yeah.
trailer.
Inquisitors-
Those are my questions.
Did Rebels introduce the Inquisitors?
I believe. I don't know. That's the first
Well,
I've
let's
seen
get
of
into
them.
that because
Yes.
I have questions. So
Okay,
the
go for
trailer, obviously, first of all, spoiler alert, we're getting into an era now where we're going to start to be up to date with what's going on. So we should let you know if we're going to just always have spoilers in this thing.
This is all
We're not going to
spoilers.
not talk about things. So come
We
into
may or
these
may not
episodes
alert you.
assuming that if you've not seen the trailers or the latest episode of a given thing, you might be
Sorry.
kind of up shit creek with a turd for a paddle if you're watching
Yeah.
this. So that's the last warning I'll give. The trailer. So I am under the impression, based on the original trilogy, that the last time Obi-Wan and Vader met was in episode 3 when they had their whole epic duel and he cut him up and blah, blah, blah. We all know about that. So clearly this trailer says otherwise. Not only is the implication that Vader and Obi-Wan are going to meet again between A New Hope and episode 3, but also there's all this there's this whole crew of the dude with the cheesy pirate hat and
Jedi hunters.
looks like Janelle Monáe,
Yeah.
low budge Janelle Monáe running around.
Who is? Yeah.
First of all, who are these people, for starters? And also, this is the theme that's always going to come up for me. Sensitivity is to anything that undoes narrative from the OG trilogy. The narrative was always Vader hunt down the last of the remaining Jedi. So is it just like his team of people he assembled were just sort of included and assumed to be a part of that statement?
Well-
That's the way we got to get fuzzy on it?
That's why I started watching Rebels. The very first scene in Rebels is Darth Vader telling the Inquisitor,
Yeah.
"You need to hunt down the last Jedi." This is like
So
orders-
he didn't do it himself. He just basically trained a crew
I
of
guess
Sith?
so. Yeah. So those are Inquisitors.
He may have been involved in
Yes.
some stuff
So how many...
in the comics.
I thought in the Sith there's a master and an apprentice.
Well,
So
I
now
don't think they're necessarily Sith Lords.
they just get to cruise
they-
around with red sabers.
Yes, and I think they like. There's a moment like I'm gonna mention Rebels a lot because I
I know,
feel
I know,
like
yeah, of
Rebels
course. Yeah,
and
it's gonna be
Obi-Wan,
relevant.
they're happening at basically the same time.
Right.
So I would tell you
Yeah.
you're probably gonna have to relent and watch
right.
Rebels just to
I'll give it a rip. I'll be open-minded.
because what I've noticed why I started watching it was because characters I saw in the trailer are characters that are in Rebels.
Got it.
Yeah,
the
there's some dudes.
Inquisitor,
There's some crossover cats.
And your Janelle Monáe, there's like I said, there's an episode where there's a kid like I think my sister, the Inquisitor took my sister. I think that's his sister. I don't know.
Okay.
So like I've only watched like 7-8 episodes, so I don't know much.
I don't remember it, but I remember thinking it did feel a little bit more like Star
Yeah,
Wars
it
to
did.
me than the
Clone Wars, yes.
And also being just like a art geek, they leaned very heavily on Ralph McQuarrie
Yes.
concept art.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So most
Well,
of the
that's
stuff they use
encouraging.
is kind of looks like it's taken directly out of his pages.
yeah, the aesthetic of it,
All right.
the characters look a little weird. Some
Yeah,
like a little
even
too
Vader's
animated.
helmet is
Yes.
actually closer to, well, not closer to, but it's a mix between what you see in the movie and a hybrid of Ralph McQuarrie's
The pre-production.
So it's pretty
art.
cool.
pre-production art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not full on pre-production
Well,
art.
those
because-
the things he drew and painted are
Oh,
beautiful.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
It gives me goosebumps.
It's,
Totally.
it sold Star Wars because I mean George Lucas wanted like I need visuals to
Yeah.
go with this script or
Right.
no one's gonna get it.
I did, yeah. You gotta have visuals.
You gotta have visuals.
Right?
You have to.
Minor
Could you
detail.
imagine?
The space.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
I mean, it's it's a story that no one knows, like especially
If
space.
you tried to
there's-
explain this shit without
Yeah.
any context and no visuals to someone that didn't have a reason to think this would be good, it would sound like the biggest pile of horse shit you've ever heard.
Explain Star Wars before Star Wars.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, it's so funny, and I love this is I love about Alec Guinness, who is the real Obi. And like I love Ewan McGregor, but
Yeah.
when I think Obi-Wan Kenobi,
I mean, he is the dude.
He's Obi-Wan
Yeah,
Kenobi,
of
He's got the
course.
gravitas.
and I don't want them like I'm worried. I'm like, please be good because you're just gonna don't shit on our character, don't shit on Alec. But when they were filming A New Hope, you know, they were in the African desert. It was just awful. Everyone was like, what the hell is this? This is stupid. What are we filming? But everyone always says he was pro. He was just like serious. He kept everyone's
Knew his
spirits
lines.
up. I mean, he was the wizard. He kept everyone like he was.
Yeah.
They always say he was just a pro. So
I think everybody on that set thought it was going to be a big piece of crap.
they were, yeah,
Especially the British dudes.
yeah. The British guys were like,
Can
what
you
is this?
imagine? What
Yeah.
is this bullshit?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I can wrap my head around conceptually that if Vader had this big task of hunting down the last of the Jedi, that maybe he was like, you know what? If I trained sort of an elite small squad, like that's not an offensive concept to me.
No.
It's a
I
fucking
guess I can
slippery
wrap my
goddamn slope.
It is.
It's
though.
just
I
a
mean-
little at odds with what they told us. I think my
Yes.
thing is if these lines weren't in the original Star Wars film, I wouldn't have anywhere near as much of a hang up with it.
Is
you
Vader
know?
too fucking good to get out of his stupid ass
You'd
castle?
think
and
he'd
chop a
want
few-
that. Like you'd think he would.
Yeah.
He'd be the ones like, I want Obi-Wan.
But
And maybe they
also-
want him alive. Maybe that's things
But
like bring that.
when you guys watch the trailer, and again, we're all discussing
Yes.
it for the first time. We've all watched it and not discussed the trailer with each other yet. I'm not super stoked on what those Inquisitors look like. The guy with the triangle hat and the pale thing
Yeah.
looks a little low budge to me. You could come up with something. Let's put it this way. One of the few things that was good about the prequels, Darth Maul was a pretty badass, gnarly-looking villain. So
I'm glad
if
you
there's a
mentioned that.
brain where someone can cook up Darth Maul, how did we go from Darth Maul to that powdered-faced,
Yeah.
pirate-looking motherfucker that I saw in the trailer for Obi-Wan?
Well, even the
Yeah.
Inquisitors in Rebels look more menacing than that guy.
Then how are they doing that?
Darth Maul's a mean looking motherfucker.
I've
So-
been super stoked on this Obi-Wan series until the trailers started dropping, and now I'm a little like, meh.
Well, I was super stoked, and then the Book of Boba came out, and then I got nervous.
Yeah.
But Darth
Yeah,
Maul,
it's like they can blow. I mean, they didn't
yeah.
completely blow it, but
it kind of
ain't
gave
a
him a
home
punch
run.
a little bit.
of a dry hump
It
Yeah.
was. I don't know many people who love Book of Boba.
for all
Yeah.
you middle schoolers.
Oh
out
man,
there.
it's
But
blue
Maul-
balls for sure.
Maul
with that
was one of those characters that I was like, they should have lasted more than one.
Well, especially
episode.
how they teased him in the Solo movie.
Yeah.
Remember at the very end? So in my
Oh,
brain,
yeah.
it's like they're already trying to continue the idea of Darth Maul beyond Phantom Menace. I honestly always assumed, and Curtis, I think you told me that in one of the animated series, there's a whole thing where
It's Rebels,
Darth Maul's
yeah.
got like a bottom half that's been built and out, and he's looking for Obi-Wan for revenge, right?
Yes.
He turns up in.
I figured that would be the story of this series before they started doing the trailers, and now we're hearing
Wait,
about the
Maul is
Inquisitors.
alive during this
Yes,
shit, isn't
he is. Well, I was about to say, I noticed
the
the
fuck?
song in the teaser is Duel of Fates. To me, that's a nod.
in
that
the Obi-Wan trailer.
in the Obi-Wan trailer, they dropped one that Lucasfilms. It's you hear Duel of Fates. So for me,
Well,
it's
let's-
like
okay, let's put it this
But
way.
Maul does
I-
die.
Maul. Obi-Wan kills. I mean, it's spoiler anyone. I don't know. I'm not trying to
Again,
spoil you.
Just
Paul,
assume
we
there are going to
watched
be
this together.
spoilers. Oh, I
Yes.
don't give a fuck.
He's Obi-Wan meets Maul again, and it's
Okay.
a quick battle.
It's kind of dope how quick it is.
Yes, it's like he gets him in one strike. Boom.
Oh, really? So Maul does all this work to find Obi-Wan, finds him, and Obi-Wan's like, bloop, done.
And it turns out Obi-Wan has been fucking training.
Yeah.
Got it.
Maul's been out there getting pissed, and Obi-Wan's just been fucking honing his shit.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So, but again, I will say they kept that Luke appearance in Mandalorian a secret for so long, so that it's possible that they've got a Darth Maul plan for this, and they're just keeping it close to their chest. That is way more interesting to me
Then
than these
Vader.
Inquisitors. No, well, Vader could be fine. I mean, Vader's great if they do it really well. I mean, I will say we just watched this trailer. That last tease moment where you see the arm attached and they turn it on. That is already kind of what I was mentioning in the previous episode when we talked about how I hate the prequels. That just like leaning into the fun, playful nature of knowing what they can tease.
Yeah.
They didn't do any of that in episode 3. It was just really, it was just on the nose. There wasn't anything subtle or powerful
Yeah.
about it. And even just in the trailer of the way they cut it, it tells me they know how impactful Vader will be, and they know to treat it with the weight that it is.
Yes.
And I think if they
they're
do
smart.
it right, I mean, that fucking shit at the end of Rogue One was fucking badass.
Awesome. Well, it's like
Oh yeah.
That one moment where it almost was like they didn't need to do that scene, but they did it
Oh, they
so
did.
well. And also, it was short. I think we talked about this
Yeah.
before. Brief moments can be okay. I don't really know where I'm going with this. Vader, I'm down to see what they do. I don't have less concerns about Vader as I do this little squad that he's assembled.
Well, it's only 6 episodes, correct? Like
Correct.
that's
I
it.
don't know.
And they're premiering with 2.
Yeah.
So we'll watch the first 2.
I have a show that night. I'm so mad. But
Oh.
anyway,
Have
Okay.
you guys seen all the art? It leans extremely heavy on Vader.
yes. I'm assuming.
Every piece of artwork that they've dropped, like posters and t-shirts and shit, it's like Obi-Wan versus Dave, like in a lightsaber duel.
So what
Peace.
are we? So we're all just going to be asked to just like a fucking Jedi mind trick. You didn't hear the line from A New Hope when he says last time we met, I was the learner.
I hope
you know
they
what I'm trying
don't
to say.
like full on go at it, man. It's like a forced flashback or
Yeah, I'm assuming there's gonna be a lot of flashbacks.
But you make this point all the
but
time.
I guess like how many years before the fucking New Hope is this?
Well, if
20?
you said
no, not 20.
Luke is 10 in the trailer, because I remember you looked that
Yeah,
up.
so it'd be 10
He's
years.
10. How old? I mean, is Luke 17 in A New Hope?
I have it
That's
in
a
my
good
head he's
question.
supposed to be 17
Yeah.
based on something somebody said, not because I
I always assumed he was around that
Yeah.
17, 18-year-old
Right.
age.
Yeah.
I don't think maybe old, maybe 20.
Young enough to sound like a whiny bitch
So
about
it'd
Tashi
be maybe
Station.
a decade in between. So I mean, 10 years is a long time, but it's way more powerful if it's like, I guess 17 years. Fuck,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I know it's like Rebels is 5, because I look at the time,
Yeah.
5 years before A New Hope, and then was it 10 years after like Revenge of the Sith or something like that?
When like how many years is between that like lava battle and then they meet on the Death Star? Do we know?
Right. So
That-
that's got to
Like
be
if that indeed to me, like as Paul was saying, that's the last time that they saw each other, and
Right.
it's way more powerful
Correct.
to me
15 to 20 years.
That's
if
what I'm
the
saying.
last time you see him is this dude chopped your arm
Yeah.
off.
That's what I'm saying.
That's it. Yeah, I think that's where it gets ugly.
It seems pretty clear to me that that is clearly going to be changed. Like, it's hard to believe that everything they're hyping about the Obi-Wan versus Vader in the
Yeah.
series is all flashbacks.
Either flashbacks or they're gonna do that like
But then you know fucking Obi-Wan's alive the whole time, and wouldn't you just be consumed
yes.
as Vader?
Well,
Yeah.
that and it's like, are they gonna
Yeah.
do like the Force Ghost kind of thing, like they did in the sequel trilogy, where like Ren and Rey had that kind of
Yeah.
thing? Is
You're
it
right.
gonna
It's
be
like
some?
they open up all these Force abilities and
Yeah.
other stories, and all of a sudden you go back and it's like, oh, they can just basically be doing
can
FaceTime
do-
via the
they
Force.
can
anytime
magic
they
their
want.
way.
FaceTime, you can heal people.
Yeah.
Like fuck, man, why didn't you heal
Yeah.
fucking Vader on the Death Star, dude?
Yeah,
They're
no
gonna
shit.
add in like the last time I physically saw you.
Yeah,
was-
the super special edition where they go
Yeah.
in and yeah.
Jeez.
I don't know. I don't want to be
And
negative
Tarkin was
Nancy
like,
on this one.
surely
but
he's dead. You know,
Yeah.
Tarkin was like, man, that motherfucker.
I guess I'd be clear. I really want to love this, and I'm going to go into it wanting to love it.
I think yeah.
So I'm not predisposing myself to being bummed. I just have a few red flags. That's all.
I'm with you on that. It's like I'm scared. I'm excited, but I'm reluctant. If Book of Boba came out and knocked it, because Mandalorian for me knocked it out of the
Yep.
park, got me right back into the
Yep.
Star Wars feels.
Yeah.
Yep.
If Book of Boba Fett came out and knocked me on my ass and was like, "This is awesome," I would be so much more excited.
Yeah.
I think for Obi-Wan is an unbelievable character, and like I said, like you said, stakes are low in Mandalorian. Stakes are kind of low in Boba Fett.
Yep.
A little higher than Mando, but
Pretty
this
damn low.
is like, come on, like if you screw this up,
Yeah.
then it will kind of not ruin the original
Oh,
trilogy.
man,
and
you're gonna yeah. People like us, it's gonna be exponentially more difficult to be stoked on future series
Yes.
if they shit the bed on an Obi-Wan series.
Well, it's like, does there come a point for y'all where, like, say for some reason, like, say this is terrible,
yeah,
say this is awful,
yeah.
and then they come out with something, and does there come a point where you're disappointed so many times that you can't even watch the
Yeah.
original?
For sure,
Yeah.
because I feel so protective over my own experience with Star
Yes.
Wars, and there's so much stuff that exists that I'm happy to curate for myself. It's like a choose your own adventure as
Yeah.
a Star Wars fan. It's like for me, Star Wars is these series and these movies, and that's what Star Wars is for me.
Yeah.
Like if it gets shittier and shittier, there will come a point where I'm just gonna say, fuck it. I will now curate my own Star Wars experience.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like to think it's unlikely that it'll get to that extreme.
hope.
I will say, just to not be super negative, my only major issue with that trailer is all these the Inquisitor characters that I don't really know much about, and I'm not stoked on how they look. Having said that, you know, seeing Ewan McGregor with slightly more age in his face and the beard, being on these desert planets, it does look like a more tactile, Mandalorian-esque Star Wars. And so to see Ewan McGregor in the role outside of the cartoon world of the prequels is exciting.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
it does
it's exciting.
That is
look
actually, yeah.
good from a production standpoint, outside of my own personal questions about these other bad guy characters. Nothing else looks shitty. And if honestly, outside of that, looks pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't know what they're going to do with the plot and how much I'm going to have to be invested in these. It seems like they're leaning real heavy on these, whatever we're going to call the
Inquisitors?
Like, Inquisitors,
The
I
Jedi.
guess that's what they're called.
I just had like an epiphany that's probably extremely obvious to everybody but
Yeah.
me. If the Inquisitors know fucking Obi-Wan's alive, then Vader obviously knows. Wouldn't Vader be completely consumed
Yeah.
of fucking this dude up?
Oh, you're right, because he says in A New Hope, a presence I haven't felt in a
Yeah.
long time.
Sim-
Yeah.
It's like, motherfucker, you created a whole team to track down this dude because you knew he was around, and now 20 years later, you act like you're just feeling this for the first time?
What-
Yeah, because it isn't the time jump between that is not that 5, 6,
what are we
7
saying?
years.
If you
18
know
years.
that the
18,
dude
yeah.
that put you in lava is alive, then you ain't doing nothing
Vader.
else.
And you said it in the
Yeah.
last episode. It's not just from his perspective, put me in lava. It's might be stooping my girl.
Yeah.
Also, you know what I mean? Like, there's
You
a
ruined
lot.
everything.
Took
You
my
ruined my
took
life.
my children away from
Yeah.
me.
Like
Oh,
every free
you know?
second, I'm looking for this fucker.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more like maybe for me, maybe it's comforting to know that there's these other because we want to see Obi-Wan kick some ass.
This is true. Maybe that's the
So
argument.
maybe that is gonna fall heavy on. Maybe Maul is coming back. Maybe that's the secret thing. Maybe we just see more Vader like talking to these dudes. But you're right. Like it's very un-Vader like to not go out and hunt this guy.
Well, even in the trailer we just watched, it looks like Janelle Monáe. I know it's not actually Janelle Monáe, by the way.
Yeah.
Whichever one of the Inquisitors that is, it seems like she's the unofficial leader of this group
Yeah.
based on the trailer, right?
Yeah, I've never seen her before.
Well, that's
in the
why I said
cartoons.
in Rebels, there's Inquisitors are training young. They're trying to find people to train, and I guess they're the main character who he infiltrate because he's a young kid. Ezra, I think his name is. He infiltrates the like training, like so they think he wants to train to
Right.
be an Inquisitor, and there's another kid who says I'm here because the Inquisitor took my sister. Now, after seeing that, I was like, I think that's maybe. I don't know. I've only seen 7 episodes.
Her name is Moses Ingram, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Just
the actress.
to give her a proper shout
Yeah,
out.
I should not be saying that. She's probably a fucking badass, and I'm over here.
Well, yeah,
badass.
I mean, I did. We were fucking around, but I also
no, it's a good dope.
I did
know.
want to give her some props.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen her in anything, but you're about to get some tweets from
Also,
somebody. I don't tweet, but
It's okay.
from Star Wars fans that
we
aren't
say
me.
this all the time. Blow the comments
Yeah.
up. Call me the dumbest piece of shit you've ever seen on the internet. I'm all for it.
Yeah, hit us up,
Um,
hippies.
So also, there's a lot of questions,
Yes.
and I've had some caffeine.
Keep
But-
them coming because we need keep 'em
So
coming.
Hayden Christensen,
Yes,
obviously they keep mentioning him all the time as a part of this.
He's in it.
he's
and
in
you
it.
guys sent around that thing last week where they talked about being on set or whatever and how exciting that was for him. Where does he need to be in this? If it's Vader, it's just a person in the costume. I certainly hope they're using James Earl Jones or a facsimile of that voice,
I gotta be.
obviously. So it seems like from a production standpoint, there is no need for Hayden Christensen in any capacity unless it is a flashback.
Well, that or they might do some mask reveals. You know how sometimes like when he's in his chamber, he takes his mask off. You might see some like
I guess that's true.
fucked up looking.
That makes sense.
Vader.
But doesn't
Is that dude dead from
Yeah,
the
I
guy
would
that
be
played him in Return of the
name?
Jedi?
Prowse?
Yeah. Oh
Dead?
yeah.
David Prowse, I think is his name.
Oh, yeah,
No,
the
no,
guy
no.
who
There
played
was
that-
David Prowse was the guy who did
Who-
was like
Oh,
more
body.
Sebastian Shaw.
Sebastian
Yeah.
Shaw.
Yeah.
And just so
Well, they took his ass
anybody
out
that's
of
older,
the Return of the Jedi.
you had to like turn in box tops. And if you like get enough proof of purchases from back in the day, you could mail it in and get the Sebastian Shaw
Yeah.
a figurine, and I have it, and I'll
Yeah.
figure out a way
Yeah.
to show you guys here on the
Yeah.
episode.
Hell yeah.
But I think there's flashbacks. I wouldn't be surprised if they do Clone War flashbacks.
Well, that's where I was going with this. That actually might be great because I hate the prequels so much. If they find creative ways to just revisit that era in a way where they now can do it right,
yes,
that doesn't suck. Like, I'm down for a bunch of Hayden Christensen flashbacks with a Favreau Filoni led revisit to that time, because that to me is a prequel world where it might actually be worth a damn.
Well, I'm actually hoping they do that because, like I said, I don't watch the animated series. The Clone War, like I can watch Rebels, but like even it's still at the same time, it's like, okay, I don't have time to watch 70 episodes.
Right.
But I remember when the prequels.
I hope I'm pronouncing that name right.
Attack of the Clones or the Clone War. It's like it kind of was like, well, this war's just happening, and so I think the Clone Wars animated series fills in a lot of the gaps that's this giant war.
Yeah.
So it'll be very cool for people like us that don't watch the animated series. Maybe this will give us a good taste. I'm assuming there's going to be flashbacks.
That's a good point, because they got to know there are a lot of people like me that have no interest. And if they're relying on everyone to be up to speed on the Clone Wars,
no way.
There's no way that people will be educated enough to watch this
I
series.
can't. It's like
they're smarter than that, right? They would know better.
But Filoni's he's the animated guy.
But even if he loves it,
he's the prequel cat.
He's a prequel cat. He's an anime. He loves the anime. He does the Rebels.
That makes him sus for sure. But
he's good, but also he's a little sus.
He's definitely sus.
If there's any sus stuff, I'm not looking at
take the reins.
Your money. I'm not looking at your money, baby Favreau. I'm kind of being like, what's up with this?
Favreau,
is this some Filoni shit?
Is this some Filoni shit?
Well, I don't know who is like the main front runner of Obi-Wan. Is it both?
No,
of them?
I thought it was Deborah Chow.
Is it Deborah Chow? I think it's Deborah Chow.
But also wasn't Bryce Dallas Howard talking in one of these things about having directed an episode? Which
I think she did the episode of Ahsoka.
Which I have two. Is that right?
Yeah.
She's,
and what? Yes.
Okay.
And what about writing? I'm not.
I don't know.
Speed on
That's
the
a good
writing
question.
Of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You mean like who wrote it?
Is Deborah Chow not the showrunner and overseeing the Obi-Wan series? Because
I'm trying to look into their database now.
I'm
pretty sure that is the case.
Yeah.
And she did.
I'm hacking into Disney.
What did she do that was so fucking great? Oh, fuck me. We'll look it up.
Yeah.
She did something really great, and I think she had something. She definitely worked on some of the Mandalorian episodes. I know that she was part of that round table with Taika Waititi and Favreau and all of them working on the Mandalorian shit. And Rodriguez, because Rodriguez did the Mandalorian episode that introduced Boba Fett, which was the lead-in for him being showrunner on Book of Boba.
I know they have a good editor. They have she did Breaking Bad.
Well, we go back. We said this in the last episode. There's no excuse at this point. They have all the fucking money in the world.
Yeah,
they should have
Deborah
all
Chow is an executive producer.
Yeah.
Okay.
What? I don't even know. I don't know who that is.
It's more the writing.
I'm with you on that.
Because I think that out of all this, it's like the writer really has to nail this. They really have to because this. I mean, I'm so nervous about it, and I know we get 2 episodes right off the gun, and for 6 episodes, they're probably 45 to an hour, probably an hour long. I'm assuming.
I'm assuming it'd be like Mando is. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get an extra long. I do like that concept though. Sometimes, when that happens. You see like the extended series of things. It's you get the story without being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
By just side note, like the Hateful Eight, Tarantino's film. I didn't love the Hateful Eight movie, but he came out with like a 2-3 episode, and I thought it was probably one of the best. So it'll be fun to stretch the story. But I'm with you. Like, holy cow! I'm curious to know how deep. How close to A New Hope are we going to get?
Yeah, that's a good point too. I will say this: I am pleased and relieved that it's only 6 episodes.
Yes,
I think.
Don't try to.
Yeah. If this was going to become 12, I think we've all seen a lot of these series. Not Star
Most
Wars,
series,
just in general. There's always like that 3-episode lag. We're like, this was really a 6-episode series, but y'all had to fulfill a 10 to 12 episode order, so you stretched it out from a screenplay standpoint.
And some of them should just be fucking movies.
And honestly, for Obi-Wan especially too, because I think we've talked about this a lot. And I hope this means that they're aware of this, but you're treading on hallowed ground with these characters. And if you've got an inspired story and a good plan that you can execute in 6 hours, great. But get in and get out.
Yep.
Don't try to turn this into multiple seasons. We all love Ewan McGregor. The best credit you can give to Ewan McGregor is give him 6 hours of good Star Wars to reclaim his experience with the prequels. Because I don't think he'll ever say it, or maybe he has, and tell us if we're wrong. But he fucking knows those movies aren't good.
He
knows the prequels
all you gotta
aren't
do is
good.
watch them.
He's too smart a film guy to know that those are objectively bad movies. And I'm sure when they came to him, he's like, "You mean I can be Obi-Wan and watch me as Obi-Wan and actually maybe be stoked on what we make?" He's got to be fucking out of his mind excited.
I noticed even in like, I don't know if I'm wrong, but even in the inflection of his voice, he's trying to sound more like Alec Guinness.
He talked about that in the original, in the prequels. He like studied the performance to make sure his inflection.
He did a great job.
I mean, going through the trailer, so we got. I think the Duel of Fates is a hint.
I didn't notice that. I'm gonna have to watch that when we're done.
For me, I was like, oh, are they gonna bring Maul? Because when they first said the Obi-Wan series has come back, my first thought wasn't Vader, it was Darth Maul.
Yeah.
I think that he was a Sith Lord that should have got more. He should have got more than just episode
100%.
1. Because Count Dooku, come on, man. I mean,
Oh,
look at
everyone
Darth
knows
Maul
Christopher
and
Lee,
Count
but
Dooku.
still.
Like, especially with Lord of the Rings coming out, I was like, you just got coming out here. He was not a menacing
Grandpa
Sith Lord.
cutting it.
Like
Maul should have been in all 3 of those movies.
Maul was a menacing Sith Lord. He didn't talk barely, He was not. I'm not saying he's up there with Vader, but he was pretty darn close.
Pretty goddamn
He was
close.
Pretty
It was good.
badass.
It's the only good concept they cooked up in the prequels was that villain in episode 1.
Yeah, and
the
it
only
was, and they,
Yeah,
So-
Maul should have been in all 3 of those movies. There maybe should have been some sort of like beef between him and Anakin, and then when Anakin finally went to be Vader, his first order of business should have been to walk over to Maul's place and whoop his fucking ass.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, they could have
you're
used that
welcome,
as a
Lucasfilm.
mechanism to show his eventual turn to the dark side was just cutting down one of his own and just going full
Yeah.
gnarly and just
And he
destroying
just
Maul.
baiting him like with stuff.
Yeah,
and like
just
getting,
fucking him up.
Because we never got to. It would have been cool to see, because like almost in Return of the Jedi when Emperor's trying to get Luke to turn, it would have been cooler to. I know it kind of happened when he was fighting Obi-Wan, but to have it more dialogue based, like getting him like getting him all fired up and watching that more, like watching him turn a little more psychologically.
Yeah.
Because it just, I think we missed that. But I don't know, maybe Vader's a little smoke and mirrors. Maybe Maul is, but if Maul, they know in one of the animated series, Maul gets killed with one stroke, it's like, well, that'll suck. Like, are they going to do that? If they do bring back Maul, are they going to do that same thing?
Well, they have to.
They have to. Well, there's so much stuff.
Too much shit.
There's too much. There's too much.
Slow the
That's
fuck
the
down,
whole
y'all.
problem.
Y'all
Not
are
only
painting
this
yourself
stuff.
into a fucking corner.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's that, and like
You're right.
with animated series, it's like I'm not against animated series, but you've got so
might
many
be.
episodes. Like
I'm down with them, but like, just don't fuck with like y'all are saying. Just don't fuck with the
The main character.
Yeah.
the main
Yeah.
But there's-
ethos.
Yeah.
But there's so much. There's so many episodes, and there's so it's like, well, and like in the Book of Boba, when they brought in that bounty hunter guy at the end, everyone was
Yeah.
like, from the end, oh, that's what's his name. I was like, I don't know who that is.
Exactly. I was like, who
Yeah.
the fuck?
Oh,
is-
Cad
who I'm
Bane.
supposed
Yeah,
to-
yeah.
I think he's in. What is he in? Fuck, I don't know.
He's in Clone Wars, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know. I think, and that's where probably there's probably, I know there's a lot of Clone Wars fans out there. I know you're diehards for it, but I mean, so,
Well, then
blow us
you're
Make
up
fun
here.
of
wrong
us.
if you are. You're just wrong. Sorry.
Make fun of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like all the monitors are rolling now. The Vulture had a little. I don't know if we hit like,
Unexpected.
some bullshit.
Fucking asteroid field that we
Asteroid
didn't see.
field.
It wasn't on any of the charts.
I think we were just saying there's too much shit.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what it was. Too much.
It's too much.
I can't. And I think the thing that I find the most frustrating is I really want to be. This should be the most excited we've been about anything Star Wars,
Yes.
right? It's a 6-episode full
It's
production
pretty-
value. Like Ewan McGregor returns into a good format Star Wars story. This should be up there with like sequel trilogy level anticipation, and I just can't get to that level of excitement because it's countered
Well,
by the like apprehension of what the fuck they're gonna do.
It's frightening.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
trailer was a little, and even like the trailer and the teaser were very similar. We didn't get much
Yeah,
more
right.
information from the official
That's
trailer.
That's true.
I was expecting,
Except for Owen, we got to see.
I did
Uncle
love
Owen
seeing that. I
That
love
was great.
That was
That's cool. They got the same
it was-
actors.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he's a fucking big name actor now.
Yeah.
So much so that I'm not gonna remember his name.
but it was cool to see
find out.
their interactions. Like almost like wow, like they did talk to each other. Like it was cool to see.
Yeah.
Like well, he needs to be
Right.
trained. Like So that I love that little jab, like he trained his father. It's like, ooh,
Joel
Yeah.
Edgerton.
ooh.
That's it, Joel Edgerton. That's it.
But there's so much. I think that is the main problem. Where and there's not. It'd be one thing if it was like one person did everything, but you got J.J. Abrams, you got George Lucas, you got Favreau, you got Filoni, it's like.
Well, in general, Favreau and Filoni oversee everything, right? Like
Yeah,
they're the guys for the entire
Oh, they
franchise.
are. They're kind of like the Kathleen Kennedys
Yeah,
now?
exactly. Well, they replaced Kathleen Kennedy because she's retiring from the Star Wars world. In fact, I think that handoff is already done.
Yeah.
This was like a year or two ago when they announced that she
Well-
was stepping down, and it was right after the success of the first season of Mandalorian was when they promoted Favreau and Filoni to take over for Kathleen Kennedy as the overarching boss of the franchise, which
She
is
had a
great
good
news.
run.
Yeah.
Which is great news.
Well, I'm saying in the grand scheme of like
Yeah, I know what
all
you're
the
saying.
stories you have, all these, so there has to be overlapping. There has to be writing things,
Yeah.
and it's like, you're right. Are they going to be like, just forget about that? I'm okay with forgetting like thing. If you want to change the Darth Maul fight that you put in the animated series, I'm okay with that. Don't change
That's what I'm
anything
saying. Yeah.
about the original trilogy, the thing that got us into this in the first place.
I mean,
the
they
thing
obviously
that makes me
are.
feel good.
They obviously are. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think
Well, they're
that's
not technically doing it, but because like there's a way to shoehorn it in because
Yeah.
he just said, "Oh, I haven't felt that serious."
Is it-
But
How
we
many
get the
shoes?
impression it wasn't last week.
yeah. Well, they're gonna do one of those Obi-Wan. Well, what I told you was true from a certain point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's the shit they're gonna.
I haven't felt this presence since 3 days ago.
Yeah, they're going to do it.
Yeah. Even Luke knew that was bullshit at the time. He was like, from a certain point of view, that's kind of how I am right now.
Yeah.
It's like, really? I got to
Yeah,
re-examine this whole fucking
He's like,
narrative I've
your
lived with
dad
for
wanted me
30
to give you
years?"
this lightsaber. Did he?
Did
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. He looked like he was in a lot of pain
Yeah.
when you took that. When you picked up that lightsaber, I'm not sure. I'm not sure he was communicating.
When was
By
that?
the way,
Yeah,
Give
when
this
was
to
that
my
conversation
son.
going
give
on?
this to my son that I don't even really know.
You piece
Did
of
he-
shit.
Wait, did he know that Padme was pregnant?
I was gonna say, does he know
Pregnant?
that,
I was
Impregnated?
actually thinking about that. I was
with
like,
the Darth seed?
does he even know there are children at all?
I think he knows he has
Well,
children.
yeah, she was pregnant as fuck, right?
Also, I'd be worried about his fucking kids. I'd be like, we better
Wasn't-
keep an eye
wasn't-
on these two.
Portman cruising around pregnant in episode 3.
Yeah, she was totally. No, he definitely knew. Because I remember in
He did know, he
Revenge
did
of
know.
the Sith, she used to say, hey,
Annie.
hey man, I'm pregnant.
that's
Annie.
definitely what she sounded like.
Little
Annie, I
boy,
have
I
something
met
to
on.
tell
Academy
you.
Award winner Natalie Portman. That's
Yeah.
exactly what she sounded like.
It's,
I also hate sand.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to sound like we're just shitting all over this series before it starts.
I'm excited. I mean, we're excited.
We only have this much to say about it because we're this invested in it.
I'm excited,
to
but
be
I'm
clear.
scared.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's like I don't want to sound like a broken record. I do this a lot. But if Boba Fett was good,
Yeah.
if it blew us out,
Yeah, they'd
I'd be
be
less
batting
worried.
1,000.
But the
kind
Boba
of.
Fett thing's weird. When I thought about how we talked about that before, because I agree with you. It
Yeah.
was a bit of a wet fart for that one. But when it stopped, but you know how like the last 3 episodes basically were just episodes of The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
It was like season 2.5 of The Mandalorian. It was really good
There were
once
some good
Mando
episodes
entered
in
the
there.
story. I was down at that point.
It's
It was
just-
all the other shit. It was there was the cheesy speeder bikes and the fucking
Oh, that gang.
Yeah,
Oh, man, that
that
gang
was
sucked.
it got
Garbage.
as low as it got. That was
That little death stick gang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do think it is because it's so closely related to the original trilogy. I think that's where our
yeah, of course.
Is Boba
hesitation
Fett
and
series
nervousness-
done?
I got
maybe.
the sense, and I don't know this for certain, but that's why it's called the Book of Boba Fett. Like, here's
yeah.
the Boba Fett story. We've told it, and now we can move on to. We're going to do the Obi-Wan thing, and I think they're going to probably start doing this, where instead of like Mandalorian will get multiple seasons, but I think there's going to be series that deal with one character's one story, and they'll give them anywhere from 6 to 12 episodes to tell their story, but they're not all going to turn into multiple seasoned episode series. I thought I read that somewhere. Maybe I'm just speculating.
Do you think there's a chance that they would extend Obi-Wan Kenobi? I hope they don't.
I hope they do not. But if it is like fucking 99% on Rotten Tomatoes and it's universally celebrated by critics and fans
If they
alike,
nail it, maybe they do a
Yeah,
spin-off
I
movie or
wouldn't
something.
be if they nail it. I wouldn't be against it.
I don't know what the fuck else they would do though. There's such a narrow window of timeline to work within to where you catch up that I don't really know what they could do. They'd be forcing it pretty hard to cook up an additional narrative, right?
I could see them going. It would. I would be interested if they went back and almost did like an Obi-Wan Kenobi series, like during the Clone Wars.
Well, that's
Him and
more
Anakin.
interesting.
That's because it's like I know it's like you're supposed to suspend your belief, but yeah, if you're getting too close to A New Hope, Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor look
Right.
vastly.
Well, and again, if
different
you're
in
like
age.
me and you hate the fucking prequels, going back during that era means
Makes
you're almost that's as close as you're gonna get to remaking the
because
prequels.
it's right in there.
Yeah.
I mean, Clone Wars takes place before Revenge of the Sith. I would be into, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of it. Kind of maybe making a Clone Wars esque show.
Yeah,
That's
the
live
problem
action.
for me there is like some of my beef with the prequels, and we talked about this in that other episode, is that it's not just that they're poorly made films. I found the whole Clone War political landscape to be a bit confusing, and just the whole storytelling was flawed for me across the board anyway. So the hesitation I have with that idea is that if we're going back into that part of the story, I don't know that there's a way to do that. They will be forced to work within the bounds of the prequel story if they do so, and that
I
is
think
a
there's
problem.
a good way to do it. I think there's a way that you don't even have to change the fucking story.
No.
I think
Yeah.
story can stay as is, and those movies, there's a version of those movies that could be good.
Here's
I mean,
a-
you'd have
I'm
to
not-
like not
Here-
have Jar
here's a
Jar
thought.
and-
What if they go way back, and we get you fucking call up Liam Neeson's ass and get Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, like prequel series where it's like
young Obi-Wan.
yeah, Qui-Gon training young Obi-Wan, and I know everyone's gonna say, well, those guys are too old to play the part. And like, yeah, well, yes and no, because I don't know if you've seen this fucking deepfake shit.
Yeah, look at
but
Irishman.
They can, yeah, correct, perfect.
There's
example.
also speculation. There's everybody on the internet is speculating that Qui-Gon is probably gonna. He's
Yeah.
not announced, and he also said that he's not in it. But people are thinking that he almost has to be like a Force ghost. in
Force
this.
Ghost.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with Force ghosts? Who gets to be a Force ghost and who doesn't? Because I'm not.
Qui-Gon was the very first person to learn how to do it, and
Okay.
then he taught Yoda how to do it.
He taught Yoda how to do it.
That's my impression.
Yeah.
Or is that from something that they've put out, or is that
The
your
Revenge of the
speculation?
Sith at the one of the last scenes, like before Yoda has to roll off to Dagobah.
Yeah.
He's like, we've been talking to an old friend. He's taught me some shit.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I'm guessing that Yoda taught Obi-Wan how to do it.
Okay.
That's
and
why we're
then
not
so
seeing
on
a
and so
legion
Wait
of
a minute.
Jedis.
All right, hold on. Now, is there a scenario here where Yoda makes an appearance in this series?
That'd be cool.
I mean, Yoda can technically pop up where he wants, I guess.
yeah.
As a Force ghost.
I didn't even until this very moment.
That's a
It didn't
good
even
point.
occur to me that he's just hiding on Dagobah this whole time.
I would love to see maybe, and then maybe the trailer is like that. It's like maybe they're trying to, because it would be so cool to
It's
see
like a
that.
deflection, like making us look at the shiny object
Yeah.
over here because you don't know it, but we're gonna have
Yeah, we're gonna have
fucking
Maul,
Yoda, Maul.
Yoda,
right.
Qui-Gon's coming back, and that would
It
be
would
cool.
make sense if Yoda can't. I mean, we know that Yoda can be a Force ghost. because he's in The Last Jedi
Correct.
and Return of the Jedi.
Also
Yeah.
true.
Um,
And it would make sense that Obi-Wan and Yoda would have some ability to communicate.
yeah,
since
why
they,
would you not turn up?
They both went
Especially
off
in
to
these,
hide.
like, trying times.
They know they're being hunted down by apparently now Vader and his cronies. You know, you'd think they'd have like again, they'd be FaceTiming periodically.
Does Vader get along with these dickweeds? If I'm hoping he doesn't.
The Inquisitors?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, like I said, watching the first episode of Rebels, it was like he's giving the order to these. And from
Yeah,
what
I
I
assumed he
gathered
was the boss.
from Rebels is that Inquisitors are like trained. I don't think they're Siths, but like he's fighting one Jedi. Like, and that's the thing with these anime. Like, there's Jedi's I don't even know about. Like, and he's talking to this
Yeah.
guy's like, "Oh, you trained under this master. I can tell the temple
Man,
has."
fuck all that.
So they
fucking-
learn like all the fighting techniques of all the
Man,
different Jedis.
No, that ain't it.
So like they know how to fight Jedi
Nobody
because
got
they've
time for
studied their fighting techniques. That's yeah, and again
Keep
it's
it
like
simple, stupid, man. I don't need to know about all that.
well,
The
it's like-
trailer looks good.
Well, yeah, correct.
Visually.
Yeah. Again, it's only those characters and what it means for the story that concerns me. Everything else looks fucking great.
I got really excited when I saw Vader, like the Vader teasers, but
Yeah.
then it actually reminded me of how I felt when there was a Palpatine teaser in The Rise of Skywalker. I got excited at the trailer, and then when they brought Palpatine in,
Yeah.
I was just like, "Wah."
But let's be real. Straight up real talk. If Vader and Obi-Wan do meet and it's fucking badass,
Yeah.
they
Okay.
crush it. I'm going to come in here on the next episode when that series is done.
If
I'm
it's
like,
awesome.
I don't give a shit. Everything I
Yeah.
said about
Yeah.
fucking with
It's
the
possible.
originals, if they just completely crush it and it's amazing, I will not give a fuck.
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to see how they do it.
If it's not getting any Star Wars and
Yeah.
like them having to do this and me getting some some entertainment.
Because you're right.
Bring
Like
it.
the way they did the fucking Luke scene in Mandalorian was so good
Yeah.
that whatever like nitpicky things that asshole nerds like us could come up with, and I can come up with a lot of asshole-ish nerdy things.
Yeah.
I would not care because
If
it was so
good
much
and
fun.
it made sense, then bring it the fuck
If
on.
Yeah.
it was good. But it's like you break that wall. The thing is with the Luke coming back, it didn't break any walls.
Yeah, that's
it didn't
true.
break any storylines.
You knew he was just out there
Yeah.
floating around somewhere.
Yeah, of course Luke whoops ass.
Yeah.
But we don't get to see-
I don't know. I part of me agrees with you in the sense of just like, yes, okay, that would like, of course, would I love to see a Vader battle? Because the only real badass Vader battle we got to see was Rogue One, which was badass.
Yeah, right.
And I think like we all wanted to see Luke kick ass.
Yeah.
And like Vader's the most badass villain, so we don't want to see him fight like this. We want to
Correct.
see him fight like he did
Yeah.
in Rogue One, where he's
Empire
just
the Empire
crushing
fight was
people.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The New Hope was whack. For some
Trying-
reason, the Empire fight was better than the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
fight.
I agree.
But we're getting off topic.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I will. Yeah, if Yoda comes back, could be down. I'm open-minded on the Vader shit. We'll see. You know,
We'll see.
It's the Inquisitors that concern me.
I just don't know what they're.
I hope
just don't
Vader
know
doesn't
how.
like
I
him.
think that my mind.
I know,
And
I
maybe, but you're right. If they
They've
come,
also been burned so many times; it's hard to. Just
I've
be-
known about the Inquisitors longer than you.
Yeah,
You can kind of wrap your head around it after a while.
okay.
Yeah. it didn't.
because-
They don't bother me because, like I said, if they are following that, they haven't met since he lit his ass up on that volcano rock lava.
They
Then
all do need to die though.
he needs villains to fight.
Yeah,
He
you're right.
needs to fight somebody.
He needs to kill somebody
Yeah.
that's higher skilled than a random
Yeah.
stormtrooper.
I want to
guess.
see that.
I mean,
saber
Obi-Wan
come
has
out,
to
though.
kill them all, right? Because
For sure.
what pisses me off is like if this person existed during the movie, like if Ahsoka, she is kind of alive
Oh yes.
during a lot of these movies, but we don't hear from her.
Yeah,
Well, I don't
That-
know.
but I thought
I
you
mean,
guys
that
said
means
her whole
def-
her whole narrative is that she kind of was like disillusioned with the
Yeah.
Jedi
Is
world.
she alive in New Hope? Well, we don't know. Oh wait,
No, she is. No, she absolutely
Yeah.
because Mando's after Return of the Jedi, so
Yeah,
she's alive and well.
Yeah, to me, it's like, all right, I get it's a new character, but like, she's
and you
ki-
think
like,
Vader would want to track her down since
track her down. Maybe you turn up
Do you
and say
think
what's
she
up
shows
to
up?
Luke.
Do you think she shows up in this?
Well, I
series?
will say this: if she's got a series that's already in production,
I'm kind of excited about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
they would it would serve their marketing purposes to continue to introduce that character in this one to prime the pump for her series that's coming next.
I
Yeah.
hope they understand that there are, like you said, that there's fans like us who don't watch the animated series. I'm hoping that these live action series, are something that we can watch more tangibly
Yeah,
and to get an understanding of the stories they've been telling through these animated series. Like if the animated series was like, it's a 10 episode animated series, here's the story, or
Right.
even like 50, like, you know, like one, like, but since there's so many, there's like over 100 episodes.
Right, it's
Like
just
I
too
can't
much.
watch that
Correct.
much.
Well, they also were making them before they knew. This is before they had sold
was like
it to
2008.
Disney and then all
Yeah,
these other
yeah,
plans.
yeah,
They
it
didn't
was-
even know there was going to be a sequel trilogy at that time when they were first starting with that shit. I guess it is, in terms of Obi-Wan, it is possible, right, from a storytelling standpoint, that Vader will be calling the shots. He's directing orders for the Inquisitor squad, but he may not actually be in most of the episodes cruising around. They might just sort of do a lot of reporting in, like you said. Maybe there's a shot of him with the helmet coming down, and you see a brief moment of Hayden's fucked up side face before he turns around and instructs them. And it might be the kind of thing where in a 6-episode series, it's 5 episodes, and the only thing you get of Vader are like intentional little glimpses, brief moments, and they save one big moment after Obi-Wan has killed all the Inquisitors, and in the 6th and final episode, Vader finally rolls up, and there's one big epic throwdown. But again, how epic can it be if we know that neither of them can die? So I think it's possible that they won't throw down, and that Vader's just gonna. We'll see him fuck up other people,
Yeah.
but he will never actually be in the same room with
I don't
Obi-Wan
think they can meet.
because that's the
I don't
only
think
way
they
they can like.
It would be cool if they didn't.
Yeah,
I
be-
would prefer them, like you said, even if it was the coolest thing ever. Still,
it
be
would
like,
make more sense from my apprehensions about this Inquisitor squad if the reason they exist is like what you and Curtis were saying, which is they need someone for Obi-Wan
Gotta
to
beat
fuck
someone's
up that's
ass.
got a red saber, because they know that they can't put them in the same room
Can't.
fighting. As much as everyone kind of wants to see it, what it undoes from a narrative standpoint, you might just have to resist the temptation and not bite into that.
Yeah.
Like I said, flashbacks. There might be some like force connections things going
Do
on.
you guys
like,
want, just to be clear, so none of us want to see Vader and Obi-Wan throw down in this series.
You can't undo
I don't
the
think
original
so,
writing.
man.
Like for me, it's like
Unless there's like a clever way to figure it out that I can't figure out.
Yeah.
Not that I'm even clever, but I'm just
you're
like, I
clever.
can't think of like a way that it would make
can't
sense.
either.
I bet they hate that that they say that in New
course.
Hope. It's like
Yeah, of course.
because they can't. I mean, you can't. You can't take the foundation of this entire franchise, of the entirety of everything they've built theme parks off of, all
Man.
just and kind of be like, oh,
You got more optimism
Screw
than
it.
me, dog.
I
mean,
but I don't.
agree.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't have. Like I said, I love Star Wars. It is a part of us. It's a part of me.
Wait, is anyone else freaked out about this? Does anyone else feel like how? I want to know.
I would like to know.
get in the
what
comments.
average-
I
how
mean,
they feel about this proposed rematch.
yes.
I don't think that there's no way we're alone in this concern.
No.
But please comment and tell us if you feel strongly otherwise.
Are we
would-
the
yeah.
only three crazy bastards in
I
this
would-
galaxy?
I
There's
would
no
love to
way.
know the ratio. Like if you took 100 Star Wars fans, would you be okay forgetting that this line was said just to see it happen?
Well, this is a good way for us to wrap it up, too. So, to these points, get in the comments. We want to hear from you. The thing is fun about this episode, and to be clear, we're going to do this after every episode as it airs. So, we're going to try to accomplish we're all going to watch it and not discuss it together and only discuss it for the first time on camera. And we're going to try to get an episode out as quick as we can for every episode of Obi-Wan as it
Yeah.
airs. So
This is
use the
big.
comment thread as a conversation, and we will continue to address and respond to questions, comments, tell us where we're wrong. So this is a great opportunity as this new series starts to let this start to be a bit more of a back
Yeah.
and forth.
Yeah.
So let's get into it because we're, was it May 27th? Is that
May
the
27th, Friday,
Yeah.
May 27th,
2 full
two
hours.
episodes.
date? Fucking hell.
And then it's like what I do love about Disney, how they don't put out. I don't like when they put an entire series out. At
Yeah.
once. I do
I feel
like
like
waiting.
It's fun to
Does
have a thing
Netflix
to
do that? Does Netflix still?
Netflix lets the whole season.
Yeah.
They might. I wonder if they're going to change that because one of the coolest things is the anticipation.
Well, with
Yeah.
Stranger Things, they're doing the new season in 2 chunks. So this month we get the first half of
Oh, right
season
on, right
4,
on.
and then in July we get the second half of
Okay,
season
that's
4.
smarter.
Now, granted, it's a longer than normal season. I think that's like 6 or 7 episodes in each one. So overall, when it's all said and done, season 4 will be longer than other seasons.
That's rad.
But I think partly because they know how big a franchise Stranger Things is, and when they dump them all at once,
That's probably their biggest franchise,
well, you
right?
get 100%. It's $30 million
keeping them alive.
per episode for this season.
Holy
That's what
Toledo.
they're spending.
I wonder how much each episode of this Obi-Wan costs.
Oh, I would assume more than that just by the
it's,
sheer.
I'm
wonder if it-
assuming it's huge.
Is it cheaper that you own Industrial Light and Magic to get effects?
Maybe.
Let
That's
us
a good
know.
point.
Yeah.
Kathleen.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you're probably not fucking with that anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Favreau.
Thank you for working on Back to the Future, by the way,
Yeah.
Miss Kennedy.
Hell yeah. And
So good.
Kathleen Kennedy, don't even get the hit list
She
there.
could be the GOAT.
She could be.
Might be. Is the GOAT. In
She
terms
could
of
be the
production.
GOAT producer.
I mean, if we could list her fucking creds right now on a producer, it's like all of our fucking favorite movies.
Indiana Jones, right?
I don't like. I
Fucking
wish she
Jurassic
was-
Park?
Yeah.
Jurassic
Schindler's
Park.
List?
I wish she
She
was still
knows things
involved in a
about
sense.
Spielberg that Spielberg wants to kill her for. I'm sure.
Correct. All the skeletons.
She was
all
his,
of the
she was his assistant for
She
ages.
knows where the bodies are buried.
It'd
She
be
does.
cool to see Spielberg. I wonder if he would be interested in directing a.
Well,
He was the
Well, I know
first
he was
choice.
supposed to do Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
but he left the guild. I know Lucas left the guild, so he couldn't
Lucas
hire him.
is a rebel.
I love
without
it.
a
I love
cause.
like for that. Like
Yeah.
he's a badass.
Totally.
But
It
anyway,
is kind of fucking metal.
yeah.
Yeah.
For any weird things any decisions that he made, I want to say that Lucas as a person is awesome.
Yes.
Oh, sure, of course.
Donated all that money.
He took all $4.4 billion selling the franchise to Disney and donated every dollar to education
Yeah.
reform initiatives
Yeah.
in America. That
guy's
is
badass.
fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
He did though, and he's like, "I'm done. I'm gonna raise my daughter."
You gotta love the man for that.
Guy, I
Yeah.
love. If yeah,
Yeah.
I
He
know
also
we've said things
created-
about George Lucas,
And we'll say more shitty things about
Yeah,
George
but
Lucas, but in
the-
a big picture, the man's a fucking saint.
he's
And I'd like to invite Marshall Lucas on to come counter any of these points.
Bring it, Marshall. Bring it.
She probably doesn't go by
Yeah.
Marshall Lucas anymore.
It also might be true.
My mom's name is Marsha, just so you know, Marsha.
Well, I think we're all
Yeah.
excited. I think the anticipation is killing us.
Yep.
May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, may the 4th be with
all of you.
Uh,
We got to
should
get
I-
out of this outer rim, find a cantina, because it's a day of celebration.
It is a day.
Should I light speed us to that
Yeah.
F out of here?
Yeah, let's get into a nice cantina, get some blue milk going down.
Yeah, I need blue milk.
I need blue milk.
Stat.
Stat.
Hit me. Punch it.